In the last video, we have discussed about one of the problems that exists with the collected data, and that is missing values, and how to handle these missing values. We have discussed in the last video. You can go through that if you have missed. Now we'll be going on to the next problem or the next data preprocessing technique, that is data encoding. Okay. So let's see what is the problem first, and then we'll see the solutions for that. So, like, for suppose, let's say we have something like grade, okay, or we have something like uh, class of people, like rich, poor, middle class, something like that. So, let's say these two are the features. Based on these two features, I wanted to predict some output Y. So, let's say this is my particular data set, and grade I'm having it to be A, B, C, D, so on like this. Let's say there are some missing values and we have filled with the strategies that we have discussed in the last video. And similarly in class we have rich, poor, middle class. Like that we have several different kinds of classes within this column class. Basically using these two there might not be anything that we can predict as the output. But for now let's try to understand with the help of these two columns or these two features. Okay. So if we carefully observe, here we are having A, B, C, and D, whereas here we are having rich, poor, and middle class. Okay. So these are the values that are present in this specific feature class and this specific feature grade. And if we write down the equation with the help of the already discussed algorithm, that is, let's say, linear regression, then how will my hypothesis look like? That will look like y equal to theta naught plus theta 1 into grade and theta 1, sorry, theta 2 into class. So this is our hypothesis. And did you see any problem with the data that we are having? Okay. So here if you observe, we are having A, B, C, D. And what are these theta values? Means are they integers or floats or are the characters or strings? What will these be? These will be some, most probably some decimal values. Okay. So each of these will be some decimal values. Okay. So, and can we multiply a decimal with some character, or can we multiply a decimal with some string? Is that possible? It is not possible, right? It is just a mathematical equation. And whatever input that we are giving, like here, if you see, in order to predict this particular output, we'll take this A and we'll take this rich and we'll substitute in the place of this grade and class, right? So in grade, we'll substitute A, in class, we'll substitute rich, and then we'll be getting the output that is 5. But here, if you observe, it is character and here it is string, but here we are trying to multiply with these decimals. So this is not possible. So, and the model doesn't know by itself what value to put in case of A or what value to put in case of rich. So that's why we need to specifically specify what is the value that it needs to use in order to fill these instead of these characters or strings. Okay. So for that, we can use some of the data encoding techniques. And the first and easiest technique that we can use is called as label encoding. Okay. So, and what is this technique? Let's see. So let's take grade. In grade, what are the different values that we have? A, B, C, and D. And in the class, we have three different values, that is rich, poor, and middle class. And what can be the simplest strategy? The simplest strategy can be something like this. I'll assign some random numbers like 0, 1, 2, and 3. And similarly, I'm assigning some random numbers like 0, 1, and 2. So this is the simplest strategy that we can follow. And instead of these characters, now we are having some numerical values, and we can substitute these numerical values whenever A is occurred, we'll substitute 0, and whenever D is occurred, we'll substitute 3. Like that, we'll follow this particular order. And similarly, in case of class, whenever rich occurs, we'll like substitute with 0, and whenever middle class occurs, we will substitute with 2 respectively. Okay. So this is what label encoding technique is. And how will we assign these numbers? It is completely random. We'll just index them with some, like we'll just provide them with some random indexes. Okay. So this is the label encoding technique. And do you see any problem with this? Or like if you carefully observe, like in grade, there is some specific order, right? So if one student comes to us and says that I got A grade, then like we'll say that that is really good, uh, and we'll appreciate him, right? And whenever some guy comes and he tells that I got B grade, then we'll give him some class, right? So that is what we do. But why are we doing that? Because we know that A is some good value, and similarly, we know that D is some bad value. But we need to specify the same into the model, right? Then only the model can understand in the way that we are understanding. So in order to do that, what we need to do, we should not give something very random like this. We need to specify some order in such a way that how humans are thinking. So we think that A, B, C, and D. That is, A is more important, and then B, and then C, and then D. So we think in this order, right? That's why we'll also assign the numbers in this order only. That is 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And similarly, here also we can specifically, like here we are saying 0, 1, 2, 3, right? Instead of 0, 1, 2, 3, we can follow the reverse order as well. This is also some kind of notation only, right? Which is telling the order. So the order can be any way, but the order should be specified correctly so that the model will understand that one is less important and the other one is more important. Okay. So in this ordered way of assigning values, this we call it as ordinal encoding. So these are the two encoding techniques. One is label encoding and the other one is ordinal encoding. In label encoding, what we do, we just randomly assign some values, whereas in case of ordinal encoding, what we'll assign according to the order that we assume or in the order that humans understand. So that is the idea of these two encoding techniques. And in the next video, we'll be going through the code of it.